I'll call this meeting of the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners to order. Expect March 3rd, 2025. Appreciate everybody coming. I've asked Bobby Crosby to lead our minds in prayer, and I've asked Darrell Smith to lead our pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this day, and we're always thankful for the blessings that you have given us that we do not deserve. Dear Lord, we thank you for this community we live in. We thank you for the great people that live here, and we thank you for the honor to serve those people. Dear Lord, we thank you for those who have served and those who continue to serve so that we have the freedom such as this as we can come together. Dear Lord, we ask you to be with us as we go through this meeting. We pray that we'll conduct ourselves in a manner that's pleasing to you. Dear Lord, we have a number in our community that are sick. We have some that are out today being with those that they love and they care for that may not be here much longer. Dear Lord, we ask you to comfort those families, some we know, some we don't know. Just always be with them and comfort. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I welcome everybody. It's good to see. I tell you, we take it for granted, the country that we live in, the place we live in, because we live in the best nation in the world, and in my opinion, the best county in the world. So we're really blessed to have all we have and the freedom we do, and we enjoy it. Okay, everybody had a chance to look at the agenda?
Good. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I have an agenda change, please, sir, before you approve it. We need to discuss a quote that we have for repairing the actual roofs of the courthouse. The two roofs that are over the actual court rooms. There's multiple roofs over there, but we need to discuss those.
Want to add that to the agenda?
Yes, sir, will. I'll handle that during my agenda.
Right. Okay. Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Martin to approve the agenda with the change, right?
With the noted change.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second from Commissioner Darrell Smith to approve the agenda with the changes. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Everyone had a chance to look at the consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Thomas to approve the consent agenda, and a second from Commissioner Martin to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay. This is the time for public participation. If you have anything you'd like to present to the board or approach the board at this time, if you'll come to the podium and state your name, we'll let you address the board. You have a time now and one at the end of the meeting. Okay.
Jessica Cooper, Gilchrist County Extension Director. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to hand out a 4-H coin challenge.
I've been reading about that.
So with the Centennial, we've decided to do a 4-H Centennial Coin Challenge and created these challenge coins in order to create and commemorate some fun during the 100-year anniversary of Gilchrist County. So there's 100 challenge coins that will be hidden throughout the community, and they'll highlight historical happenings, prominent people, and nostalgic places through Gilchrist County's 100 years. And basically the way that the challenge is designed is there's a laminated coin that will be hidden in those places. And once it's taken, it'll say, sorry, it's been received. They'll bring the laminated coin to the extension office and trade it in for a challenge coin. On one side, it has the Gilchrist County crest, and on the other side, it has the 4-H logo and extension on it. And basically, we just wanted to unite older generations and younger generations about all of the Gilchrist County history because we have such a rich, wonderful history in Gilchrist County. So the first 10 clues were released last month, and all of those points have so far been found. And then we also have 2 coins that will be at each of the major Centennial events that will be in the drawing. Each time if the coin is taken, when someone goes to look for it, they can call the office and get on the list and be entered into a raffle. So that way they're still continuing to participate in the challenge, and we'll draw, I believe we decided 3 coins at the very end from that raffle. And then we also printed a few extra for elected officials and such. So we're very excited to be able to offer this, and the next 10 clues will be released on March 19th, so just a couple of weeks away. So each month it'll be between 8 and 12 clues, and it'll be highlighted on social media and then also on some of the different printed platforms like our local newspapers. So definitely look out for it, encourage people to participate, and we're just excited to be a part of the Gilchrist County Centennial, since 4-H has also been around over 100 years. I also wanted to update you on the local livestock fair that's happening. It started this past weekend, so we had many youth showing in the dog event, which was over on Saturday. And then tablescaping and the cupcake decorating contest also happened on Saturday. This coming weekend, we have all of the non-market shows, so the dairy shows, the heifer and bull shows. We also have the barbecue contest, so many different events, rabbit and poultry. And then the following week, we'll have our market animal shows. So we appreciate all that you do, and we hope that you may come visit us down at the fair.
I enjoyed reading the clues that you had, and as I read them, I thought, oh, I think I know where that one is. I think I know where that one is. So I enjoyed reading through that.
Good. I'm so glad. We've had a very positive response so far. Lots of people have called to inquire about the clues, and also just been excited to see some of their loved ones highlighted in Gilchrist County history. One of the clues from this past month was about D. Ray Harrison, who was the property appraiser and also county commissioner. It's been here over 50 years, serving the county. So it was exciting to be able to loop him into the challenge. There will be lots of different people highlighted, and we're still writing the last, I think, 10 or so clues. So if you have an idea for a great clue, we'd love to hear about it too. Making them rhyme has been the biggest challenge, but we're working it out, and it's been a lot of fun. We have a small committee of people that have been here their entire lives, and then some newer folks as well, to make sure that we're encompassing all the different rich parts of history all throughout the county. So we've used the 50-year history book, as well as several other resources that write the clues about some of the different locations that used to exist in Gilchrist County and some of the newer businesses. So everyone seems to be pretty excited to be a part of it.
Hey, Jess, how are we doing with the fair booster, the money that we raised to support the animals?
Great question. The booster dinner that was hosted in January was a major success. They were able to raise over $20,000 to support local youth with their market animal projects, and they've continued a few different other fundraising efforts. So I'm not sure exactly where the number is right now, but there were over 100 youth that were looking for support from the local booster that were 4-H and FFA members. So what they do is divide that pot equally amongst all of the kids that meet the criteria by participating in fundraising and community service and writing a letter to the boosters. So they support youth all throughout the county, and they're doing an excellent job doing the raising of them.
Thank y'all for all your work. I know the board and lots of the community support that effort, and if anybody wanted to contribute to that air booster, they can just contact you, or how's the best?
They would contact Adam Elliott. The extension office and the boosters are not the same entity, so we very much appreciate their support, but they handle all of the financials for their group.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for everything
Thank
you
you.
do.
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Evis McQuaig. I actually do live in Alaska County. But piggyback off of the 100 years of the Centennial, I wanted to announce that Monday I'm actually acquiring Lumbercamp Springs to open for low-intensity recreation. And I do plan on trying to reach out to the community for all local accounts and stories on that, and try to keep that history alive. I plan to have a historical interpretive panels. I have a meeting hopefully scheduled soon with the permitting team just to make sure we're all in the clear for that, but I don't plan on any concrete being there, any structures or anything like that. No alcohol, family friendly. I have 3 kids myself. But my name's Evis McQuaig. Like I mentioned, I've been coming out to Gilchrist County for the past 20 years. Would pass through quite a bit, going to Gilchrist, Blue Springs, Little River, and Hart Springs, and Little Root Springs. So I have a long history of coming out. I grew up in St. Augustine, where my family's from. We have quite a large family there. We were in land management growing up. We always managed for deer and turkey. Hope to have some small hunts out there possibly too in the future. And I'd like to have it rezoned conservation at some point to properly manage it going into the future. So want to kind of announce that. I know it's kind of a big thing. It's been dormant for a long time after Weeks Martin had it in the 60s and dragline that whole area, completely changed the hydrology of it. But I'm working with the Springs Institute to do a nutrient study on it. I think that's probably fine. It's extremely clear. It's remarkable. Actually, there's just some organic matter in it to be removed, but just wanted to let you guys know I do plan on planting about 30,000 trees on it in a wildlife spacing. So
you're planning on keeping it native and natural
sir.
state and not develop it?
Not develop it, no sir. The most development that I could see possibly on it might be a small, like tractor style house for historical educational value. I think that would be important. That's what my granddaddy grew up in, and my father grew up in St. Augustine. And we have a tractor cabin out on Oakwood Creek in the St. John's area that's surrounded by Meredith lands and Rainier lands. And I agree with the prayer. I think this is probably the most beautiful county in the world. And I think that the story's worth telling, like 4-H, and I think you guys are doing an awesome job of doing that. And I'm really excited. I'm actually working with the Gilchrist County Museum Project. And hopefully we'll have a lot of really great information available for the public to see.
Which one did you say?
It's a lumber camp spring.
Lumber Camp.
It's
down by
adjacent to
Sun Springs.
Sunspring.
Okay.
Yeah. And Sun Springs actually, they only own like a quarter of the Zen, and they charge an annual membership to access the beach there to over 50 members, and they don't have a special use permit or anything like that. So I just kind of wanted to openly speak about that, and not sure if I would need a special use permit for swimming or not. I don't plan on developing anything there, so. But besides fence, which I know you don't need a permit for, so. But just wanted to make that announcement. I think that it piggybacks off of that. So happens bringing generations together, and hope to get as many local accounts of the Swanee River in that region as possible. And really excited about it. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay. We are absent Commissioner Sharon Langford today. She had some family members that was in critical condition, so she said that she would probably not be here. Let's just keep her in our prayers and anything we might can do to help her. Okay, we'll move on. If there's no more public participation, any constitutional officers that would like to say something?
Bobby Schultz, Sheriff. Really what I'm here for is I've talked to a couple of y'all about the immigration stuff. It seems to be all over, and how the immigration laws and some of the actions are taken by the state and the government is going to affect us. And probably better off to answer questions, but very briefly, I mean, I've been on no less than 7 Zoom calls in the past week about immigration and how that's going to look in Gilchrist County. And what the effects is going to be is, don't really know. What they're proposing right now, just to give you an example, is going to be detainers. There's 700,000 administrative detainers out there that we can't enforce. So somebody called me up and said that there was a illegal person going down the road and they gave me a description. I have no legal authority to arrest them. Is we tracking on that? However, they're training up Florida Highway Patrolmen at a rapid pace to do some of those things. So the question came up, how can the county hold people in our jail who's not criminally charged? So we have come up with a way, not the powers that be, is that we come into an agreement with the state of Florida and with ICE that we will be holding those folks who are administratively detained up to 48 hours. And the next question is going to be, well, are we going to be reimbursed for that? Maybe. The number's been thrown out there is maybe $50 per person. And then the second question is what happens when they don't get picked up? So basically, we'll, just as is right now, Florida Highway Patrol will pick them up. They'll bring them to our jail. We'll take them in. We'll hold them for 48 hours. We notify ICE during that time frame. They can come pick them up, or they don't. If you're south of Marion County, they have a pretty good system. They can pick them up pretty rapidly, so the turnaround's pretty quick. North of Marion County, not so much. So they're talking about making sheriffs do the transport to some of these facilities throughout the state of Florida. How does that affect us? We're already dealing with employee issues, which are very kind and understanding about that. Maybe it's an issue, maybe it's not. But I will see, I'll let you know that that's coming. When the state law goes into effect, as we know it, then that could be a little more problematic for us, depending on what the violation is, how long they're to be in our county jail. Right now, we have a 84-bed facility. We have 61 to 62 people in it as we speak. I don't know if that will be a problem or not until we're in the midst of it. So I wanted to let y'all know kind of where we stand. We're in complete compliance with everything that the governor and the president have asked us to do. All 67 counties, whether Democrat or Republican, are all in compliance. They're all in agreement that we're going to do what we're supposed to do. But the state has set aside around $250 million if it's signed by the governor. It sounds like a whole lot of money, and it is, but that money is also going to be used to help build jails, wings. It's going to be used, we're assuming, for other financially constrained counties, but that's only $250 million. And there's still I still have no answers on if it's a medical issue in that 48 hours.
That would be my question.
Fix that up. I don't have those answers. I'm going to assume, and you know what, assuming it does, that the government will pick it up, but I don't know that answer. I do know that I will be responsible for bringing that inmate to the hospital and putting somebody on him as we do with everybody.
Yeah, he could run up a pretty good size hospital if it's not major.
The other issue is that may, again, depends on the volume of customers, is classification. If you're holding somebody in there on administrative orders, which will all be legal, the court system fight about that. That's beyond my control. Where do you put them? You know, just say you brought in, just say 10 people overnight, you have to keep them separate from people who are convicted, people who have felonies, people who are treated differently. That's just how county jails are. I'm not sure what we'll do with them at that point.
Sheriff, the new law starts in July, or do we know?
I'm not sure when that goes. I know whenever it gets to the governor's desk, you have a certain amount of time to be signed it. I would assume that as soon as it can get signed, I think that you will see this governor sign that in the first orders. But I think you're right, that July 1st would probably be the date.
I'm sure the Sheriff Association is providing input into that whole process, and questions that you're bringing up. We'll learn more about that. And what I hear is the governor and the legislature definitely want to support our local law enforcement. That's what you're hearing as well, or?
Well, they absolutely want to support local law enforcement, and for those law enforcement who don't participate, they've made it perfectly clear what they plan on doing for those law enforcement heads who don't support it. You know? So, with that being said, again, you can't get 67 people to agree on anything unanimously, but 67 counties, whether it be jails are run by the county or by the sheriff, they've all agreed that they're going to do their job. So we're in compliance. We're going to get all those things that the governor had asked us to do. We're going to be in compliance with that. Our problem is going to be, quite frankly, getting into this is what resources are going to take. Roughly, I've met with some of our federal partners to get a good idea about what's expected out of us, and it is clear as mud, other than the fact that we all need to work together. What that looks like, I'm not exactly 100% sure. But I do know in the very near future, and they're expecting that the Florida Highway Patrol will be ready to roll on their side of it, because they'll be able to detain people, do their investigation, and bring them to the jail as they do their investigation. So therefore, some of the impacts could be felt by us. I know one county had told me it Panhandle they had in the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, before all this comes into play, over 100 detainees. It's a bigger county than what we have, but I don't suspect we'll have that many folks. But if we get 10 to 15 that when July comes in, we're having to hold them for an indefinite period of time until due process is done or whatever they're going to do, it's gonna cause a strain on our resources.
You catch a whole busload
I
of
was
them in
fixing-
town.
Well, I was fixing to say, when watermelon season starts, it'll be very difficult to say who's legal and who's illegal, because you've got so many running around, but after watermelon season, it doesn't seem to be as many, I don't.
Yeah, it's not, I don't wanna be flippant, I don't think we have the issue that some of these counties are having. And I'm not even sure during the seasons that we're having migrant workers come through, it's an issue. But inevitably, you're gonna have people coming through your county. How prominent it is, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what I
But
hear,
with 700,000 names put into a database, and that's just on the administrative side of it, that's not counting what's gonna happen when, how I understand it, is if somebody is from another country here illegally, and they're not on that database, it's going to become a crime. And there's ways that they're gonna teach you how you can prove all that, which is a process. But so that's not counting those individuals.
what I hear is, that they're focused on the worst cases at this point. Worst first is what I heard. Maybe you've heard something else.
That's what I
But
heard too.
the other thing is, a lot of agriculture, which is a smaller actually portion of the illegal, is now under guest worker programming. When I talk to these farmers, a lot of farmers, they're using the legal guest worker program, and so they're not,
Absolutely.
for the most part, that's not where you're gonna find people, hopefully.
We have, and where they are, again, there's, what do criminals look like? Anybody in this room could have committed a misdemeanor, they're a criminal. So how they're going to, my understanding again is they are going after the worst, those people who they know they've been deported already and come back in here, and they have those names, and I'm not sure how they figure all that out. Those bad ones that's been inside the country, they document coming in, why they let them in, that's up to previous administration to justify that. But that's who I understand they're gonna go after. But that will be what we call collateral issues, which are people that they weren't intending to go get, but they just happen to be there, and they just happen to be here illegal, and then we'll be having to deal with those as they come into the county jail. Again, as of right now, the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Office has zero jurisdiction to make any arrests on these issues. We're working towards, if they come into the jail, we can sign the detainers for 72 hours. But as far as right now, there's nobody in the state able to do that other than ICE officials. And there's all kinds of acronyms for those agencies that's involved in that, their investigative arms and whatnot. But I owed it to y'all to let you know where we stand. I'm not sitting here telling you, oh my goodness, I'm gonna need, more people. But the truth of the matter is I'm not sure what we're going to need, because it's not an issue that's going to be, well, they're gonna do this, and then a month later, they're gonna be over. It's gonna be the next big thing. For this president and this governor for the next 2 years is very much committed, and I think the citizens have made it well known that they're committed to it. So I wanted you to know that in the future, there might be, we may have to come and talk about some resources or not, but as you're talking to your constituents, because I know it's been a hot topic, it is with me, we are in compliance, and we're gonna do everything we're supposed to do that the law requires your sheriff's office to do. Also, we talked about resources, all okayed, the hiring of 5 new employees. They have all been given, officers contingent on doing a couple of, background or stuff like that. So we're hoping by next week those 5 employees will be full-time and rocking.
Good. I'm glad you found them, not away.
What the county did for, the increases, throwing salaries up, it's a help.
Yeah.
We're getting people, I shouldn't say it out loud, because I know it'll probably be all over, but we're getting people from the state.
Good.
So that, and they're wanting a little different thing, but they're able to make that a little bit of a sacrifice from the work because the money's there.
I see Luckaway County bumped their salary up too.
We are very competitive with everybody
Yep.
around, so we have no complaints about where we stand right now on salaries and that type of compensation.
Good. That's fantastic.
Is there anything else that the board would like to know?
Keep up the good work.
Do they send out a list of the most wanted And do we know of any that are in the county already?
That I do not know if they do that. I haven't received one personally. I don't think so. I'm going to assume that the federal government knows what any gang members are, these really bad people are, and I think that's what you're seeing, people getting picked up on, you're seeing all over the news. So, what they consider the worst of the worst, I'm not sure what that criteria is. I'm assuming felonies or people who've been here 13 times, somehow or another ended up in there.
That's what I'm hearing. People that have been accused of murder, rape, child molestation, stuff like that.
I'm gonna do everything I can to do my part with the laws, and I will raise my hand and put my hand on the Bible that I was going to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of Florida, and that's my intention. Doing my best to help mitigate some of the concerns of some of our citizens and let our citizens know that we're doing our job. But there's certain things that's outside of even the sheriff's control. Even the sheriff doesn't have control of these things. So it's going to be a law, and the people vote when they hired the governor and the president of what they wanted, and they're making sure that everybody underneath their control is doing their job.
Well, I've seen on the news, he sent 3,000 more troops to the border with with vehicles. And it's down 95%, so I know we gotta deal with what's here, and they're starting to build the wall back, so if all that happens, that should help with the influx, but we still gotta deal with the ones that's here that y'all got to deal with now that we know about and that we have recorded and we have names and we have all the, records and stuff like that, and a lot of them we don't have, but, we'll just deal with it when it comes, Bobby, that's all I know.
And that's our plan. We're gonna do our job. We're gonna keep Gilchrist County as safe as we possibly can. And again, not that I expect a lot of issues out of it. We haven't seen a big problem in our county, and I say we don't. But just know that we're on top of it, and I will definitely be letting y'all know every step of the way the things I can talk about. But as right now, it's everything. Y'all know pretty much what I know.
Good. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay. We'll move on to, Bobby.
Yes, sir. My agenda starts at item number 6 under general. As you know, we've been working on our vulnerability work plan and study, and Mr. Jimmy Pittman and him have been doing that for us, and we need to require to have a number of public presentations, and we will have one of those today. So, Mr. Jimmy, if you like.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Commissioners. Really, this is to present to the public kind of the final results of this long study we've been undertaking. So I want to just go back and put my name up there and contact number. I wish Caitlin were here so I wouldn't be messing this up. Anyway, we just want to give you the final recommendations that the study's going to go to the state with, and show you kind of what the focus areas turned out to be after a long time of investigation and looking at the data. Kind of back up a little bit for those of you who may not have heard it before. The legislature recognized some years ago that they thought there may be some concerns about sea level rise. You hear a lot about that in the news. You can have an opinion about that one way or another, but basically they decided they wanted a state plan that's be comprehensive across all the counties in the state to look at the impacts of potential sea level rise, storm surge events, and then localized flooding from hurricanes or just heavy rain events. So they put together a grant-funded program. Basically, they gave every county the same grant. They also gave local municipalities, like for instance the city of Trenton, grant funding, basically to do these same kind of vulnerability studies to see which kind of properties within the state or the county are most vulnerable to flooding events and water damage. So that's kind of the background of what it is. Of course, it is grant-funded, so it's not coming out of the general fund. And again, it's basically the 3 events that you had to really focus on in terms of your study and gathering data to back up. And for everybody who lives on the coast of Florida, obviously sea level rise would be the big one. And that's probably where a lot of the future funding will end up going in regards to trying to make these places a little less vulnerable. But anyway, the other 2, of course, the storm surge. And in this area, a lot of that is going to be related to what you get along the rivers Believe it or not, you do get some storm surge events, in the Swanee and to a lesser degree the Santa Fe rivers when we have hurricanes. It just happens to fall just right. All the things line up in a bad way. But then the one that probably most impacts this county is localized flooding from these heavy rain events. It could be from a hurricane, or could just simply be back-to-back storms. So those are the three things that we looked at. Again, a little bit of background to kind of go through this. They wanted to have a steering committee, which basically was a collection of people that could represent a good cross-section across the county. All those people had some sort of knowledge or historical experience to be able to input into where they think vulnerable areas were. So a lot of that information went into the study report. And we have had several meetings. We've had a couple of presentations in this building. And so anyway, we kind of gathered all that up and looked at all the data. For sea level rise, there are several federal agencies that have created models, and these predict how much sea level rise they say may happen in the 2050, 2075. So it's projected way out. As if any model, there is a lot of technical data involved, and there's a lot of variables, a lot of assumptions. So you can look at some of these things, and I may have been guilty of saying, that's a lot of hogwash. That will never happen. I don't know. They're smarter than me, and they got a lot more data than I do. And so essentially the NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is a federal agency, they have put together their model, and they have something called Sea Level Rise Viewer. So you can go Google that, and you can go see all these scenarios across this country about what they predict is going to happen. Since we are an inland county, we don't necessarily have that much of an impact, but if you look at it, I will show you what it does for this county, and I apologize, it's hard to see, but that viewer, the blue is an impact from sea level rise. So you see down there in the bottom corner, it's kind of isolated really to the coastal areas. But they do have a little bit of sea level rise impact on the Swanee River, predominantly in the area that's affected by tidal rise. Their particular model shows it stopping at that red line there on the map, which is a little bit south of Gilchrist County. So because they don't really predict a whole lot from sea level rise, we did not go into a great deal of looking at that a lot farther past this.
Mr. Pittman,
Yes, sir.
So for the past record, can you give us an idea how much you're talking about, let's say at Cedar Key or Swanee? Say over the last 50 years, they've documented it, it's gone up some.
I skipped over that. On that last page, it says that for Cedar Key, in the year 2050, they predict, and they have these things they call a low level, intermediate level, and a high level, and they got about 20 different versions of all this. So I did intermediate level in the year 2050, and they predict a 1.1 foot rise in Cedar Key. And I thought 2050, and all of a sudden that's not that far away. I probably won't see it, but anyway, that seems like a lot to me.
But over the last 50 years, it's come up how much?
I don't have that on me. All I can tell you is a graph that I saw, and for the last however many years, it's pretty much flat line, and then all of a sudden it takes off. That is coincident with the discussion of global warming and ice caps melting and all those things. So it's been relatively nothing forever, but at some point, and I don't remember when it started, it was in the early 2000s, the curve started to ramp up, and then you get out there a little bit, and they show it spiking up at a pretty sharp slope. Yeah. So, 2050 in Cedar Key is about a foot. That's what I just used in this presentation.
That would be a lot if that happened.
It would be a lot, and you can think about what that would do in a lot of areas with your favorite beaches. There were some that were quite high down in the southern area of the state.
I've heard all models are wrong. Some are useful or something like that.
Well, there's so many variables that are going into this thing from a big picture view. I don't mean to discount them, but the difference between the low-level prediction and the high-level prediction in some cases is 10 feet. So they're admitting that their model prediction, it's highly variable on things.
I think there's enough evidence that there is some change happening. What's causing it, we don't know that for sure, but I got enough trust in the state, folks, the governor and the legislature and our technical people to say, okay, it may not get this bad, but we ought to plan for whatever it's gonna get to.
And I think that's the whole intent of this program, and I think they were both smart to go ahead and get the information to get along and to be ready should federal funding come along, and then the state's in a position to be able to gather that and pass it down to the counties to address vulnerable areas, whether it be from sea level rise or from just historical flooding issues.
Did you ever think that all the people moving to Florida may be sinking?
Can they be what? Thinking?
Sinking.
I don't know. I did not see any of that. I will say this, I do know that if the water starts coming up on the coast, those people who live on the coast are gonna move inland. In other words, they come here now a lot, don't expect that it's getting any less if they start thinking they're getting ready to not own beach property, but be under beach property. So the next general area of flooding, causes of some hurricane storm surge. And again, to be able to kind of give some predictions of what we're talking about in terms of impacts of Gilchrist County. Now we move over to another federal agency, and they have their model. The National Hurricane Center has what they call storm surge maps. And you can Google all this, and you can go in and see the same things that I did. Again, these things are based on all kinds of technical data, but they also have a lot of assumptions, and they're going to vary widely, as you can imagine, when you're talking about what the impact from a hurricane is, the actual location and path, strength of the storm, what was the soil moisture when it got here, how high was the river. So, you've got all those things play into what might actually happen. But, for this study, they wanted us to give them something, so we picked this model, and we picked the results that this model shows for a category 1 through 5 hurricane passing through Gilchrist County. So what they do is they don't really give you exact type things. They give you ranges of anticipated depth of water, and they color coded. And in this particular thing, you see blue is like 3 feet, a yellow coding was 3 to 6, and so forth. You get in orange, you're in trouble. So, it really didn't have a whole lot of impact in the county. There are all, of course, areas along the river. That's where you're getting your impact. It's the storm surge in the river as it comes up. And it did cause some of the original assets that we identified to be considered to be vulnerable. So some of the hurricane storm surge did cause some of our properties, and in a lot of cases boat ramps, to become areas of concern in terms of being vulnerable. So that, again, is just kind of showing you where most of this information came from. We have a spreadsheet here, and when you see the red, that's basically those columns to the right of that red. That's that 3 feet, 3 to 6 feet. That's what all that data is. Some of them are NA because it didn't affect them. But basically, this spreadsheet comes up with the reds and oranges and all that based on what they say our storm surge prediction is and what our flooding from our third event. And our third event that we looked at is localized flooding from rainfall. And outside of people giving me their own historical views about what certain things are, we have to kind of rely on the FEMA flood risk maps. Most of y'all are probably familiar with those. And the example on the screen is basically just a piece of Gilchrist County where they showed the 100-year flood. I know that there are a lot of areas of the old FEMA risk maps that are not accurate. A lot of them were based on the old USGS quad maps, which had a 5-foot contour interval. And you could look at some of these 100-year floodplains that were supposed to be a level plain because water levels itself out, and there'd be 10 foot of difference in the area they're showing. And you're saying, well, that's just wrong. And they'll say, well, you got to go prove that it's wrong. Unfortunately, that's all we have to work with. So that's where the localized flooding numbers came from, where there was a 100-year floodplain with an existing elevation determined by somebody at some point. We use that. and where there wasn't, we went with some DOT records, trying to gather as much of those existing elevations based on historical information. So, kind of in summary, those were the three types of information we looked at. We put it all into a spreadsheet, came up with, I don't remember exactly how many, I think it was 40 something that we felt like were vulnerable to some degree. Many of the others didn't fit into one of these categories of vulnerability. So from that, we've had several meetings with the steering committee. I think our most recent was February the 11th, where we were just talking about all the issues, and the ultimate goal of the study was to come up with focus areas that we felt like were the most critical areas that we wanted to push forward, that would ultimately be part of a grant application, hopefully getting some funding from the state. And they are funding them as we speak, so there's money there. But at some point, we hope that the county gets an opportunity to put in at least one or two applications for some of this grant money, come in and try to fix, raise, make more resilient, the term they like to use, but anyway. So here are the focus areas that the steering committee have come up with, starting with priority number 1. And I have to tell you that at the last steering committee meeting, I learned about this bridge. I didn't even know it was there. And after a lot of conversation about it, we came to decide that that's going to be the number 1 priority for Gilchrist County. So what it's called is Canal Avenue Bridge in Fanning Springs. Some of y'all probably are aware of it. I had never been there before, but I have seen it now. And Mr. Lancaster was the one who kind of brought me up to speed on that. And he was pretty adamant that would be his number 1 priority, because that is a 1-lane bridge that it basically provides access to, I forget how many homes I read, 58 residential lots are up in there, and that's kind of the only way in and out for that. And so that would be emergency responders, that would be commercial services, that would just be ingress, egress to their home. So at the 100-year flood on the river, they say that that goes underwater about 4 feet. And so they are basically locked out. So that became the number 1 priority for those reasons. Priority number 2, we switched to the Otter Springs Park. And it's really kind of 2 and 2A. We're talking about the most critical buildings there, which are the office building and the bathhouse building, which is fairly new. But the reason it moved to number 2 priority is just that it's a place where lots and lots of people go for recreation and picnicking and swimming and all those kinds of things. It is a little bit of a generator of funds to help be able to run that park. It's been flooded in the past, as most of y'all know, and the river comes up, you're just going to get wet in those areas most of the time. But the 100-year flood event predicts that the office building and the bathhouse will get water in it up to 4 to 5 inches above the finished floor, which would obviously cause considerable damage and some long-term closure to the park, most likely. So for those reasons, that was priority number 2. Priority number 3, kind of like I said, kind of goes hand in hand with that. At the same park here in Otter Springs, they have some water tank and water service system that's right there in that, I can't really see it well, but there's a yellow dot there. It's the location of the water tank. And then there's some associated electrical service boxes right there. For the same reason that those would get damaged, out of service, potential shock hazards, all those things, that kind of goes hand in hand with number 2. And so the Otter Springs Park buildings and utilities are number 2s and 3s on our focus. Number 4, we wanted to pick up one of the roads, and so we decided that 340 was probably one of the thoroughfares that took priority because of its crossing of the river. And anything up in that area that kind of runs through the Waukesha Flats, which is the area circled in red up there on that map, if you looked at the 100-year flood map of that area, it's just blue everywhere. So there are lots of areas that are predicted to go underwater during the 100-year flood out there on 340. So because of the importance of that is just the main arterial route in that east-west direction, and also one of the only crossings of the river. It became priority number 4 to hopefully maybe be able to go in there and raise profile grades in places that are most vulnerable and get that road to be usable more often.
do we know what, what flood event it would flood that road? I heard you say it.
I don't know exactly what frequency of rain flood it would be. I know that in some of the projects we've done in the past, there was water right up to the edge, and I don't remember exactly what that was. It's been the last 4 years or so. And of course, the other part of that is it led the water management district wanting to claim the whole thing as wetlands. But I don't know the exact flood event that begins to creep up at the lowest level of that road. And it kind of depends really on localized rainfall and intensity. That's about 4 miles. It could be a little more intense on this side than that side. But about the whole thing is predicted to go underwater under a 100-year flood. I don't know if that's true, but
Well, right
I know
now,
there are a lot of long stretches that do.
I can speak for my lifetime here, and I've been down this area all my life because we had a hunting club there up until last year. But there's a lot of wetlands in there, and there's a lot of ponds. And of course, Cow Creek originates there and dumps water into the Santa Fe. But right now, our water level is way low. A lot of those places, when I was young, there was just water everywhere. I mean, water in the ditch of the road, water in this pond, that pond, I mean, everywhere. And now, a lot of those areas haven't had water for a long, long time. It's kind of funny how it works because Baggett Lake, has went completely dry and stayed dry for 10 years. Right now, it has water in it, but it could go dry real easy. But there's a lot of that. If you had heavy rainfall, when I say heavy, I'm talking 10, 12, 15 inches, would fill a lot of that back up, but then it would take another, 8 or 10, 12 inches to bring it up to the level where the highways. If we were where we were at 40 years ago, it wouldn't take nowhere near that rain, but we're not there. So it's a hit and a miss. Like Langford Lake. Langford Lake used to be full right there on 47, and Bonnet's out there, and you can go out there and go fishing. It hasn't been full in probably 15 years now, or 20 years. And it's only down to just a little tiny water hole. And even when we have a lot of rain, we can get 4 or 5 inches of rain. It seems to have almost zero effect on some of those places like Langford Lake. It does. I mean, it has effect on the river, but just don't have effect on the water table to fill Langford back up and keep it up. So
I would say that if we did move forward with an application on this, we would really have to go and dig a lot deeper about I'm probably not going to do 4 miles. So you'd have to really dig deep to figure out, what half-mile segments perhaps would be the most critical.
I could take you down there and show you where it would come across the road.
Save people a lot of work.
Yeah, but there's places where it wouldn't cross the road unless you really, really had a massive, massive flood. But there are places that would come across the road.
A lot of times you can predict that some of those cross drain areas would be the lowest areas in the profile, and perhaps maybe that's where you begin to concentrate the study.
Yeah.
Okay, priority number 5, we move a little bit different, and we go into the Rock Bluff ramp, or park and boat ramp. A lot of people use that place, and I know there's a little picnic area there and a little store, but high water levels and currents there probably cause some maintenance headaches in there with erosion around the thing. I know that the old block wall that leads down the ramp needs a little bit of repair, and who knows, maybe inundation periods of coming up and going down or weakening some of that mortar. I don't know that to be true. But, this is an area that people often go in there and load their boat and do a lot of recreational things there. So that was priority number 5. Priority number 6 is another boat ramp. It's a shooting park and boat ramp. I had never been there before, but I went down and looked at it, took some pictures. And I think that might be a place where a lot of people go canoeing or kayaking and launch. It looks to me more like that. It's a little bit difficult maybe to get a bigger boat and load it in there, but again, that's one of those things that looks like to me that it get inundated, probably a lot of erosion issues going on there, and I don't know how often the county has to go in there and do ramp maintenance and repair, but it's pretty vulnerable to sitting where it does. And then last, and I wish I'd kept the other picture I had, is Waters Lake Park and Boat Ramp. And I had another picture that had the lake, and it looked pretty dry. And I
That
thought,
lake,
I thought maybe that's
more
not the
than any
best
other
picture.
lake I've seen. I've seen that lake so full that everybody out there was flooded, and I've seen that lake where you could take your pickup truck and drive around the lake and play in the sand. I mean, in the same year. I mean, it just really fluctuates very, very quickly.
I've seen it bone dry where you could just drive anywhere you
That's
wanted
what's
to. Dog pound was growing up out there where there used to be water. And like I said, growing up now, when it was, Christmas Lake dumps into the back of Waters Lake. But there is a dam down there on the east side up front, right behind the park there. And, they used to dam it up to make more water stay in the front part. But when it got high enough, it would run over that dam, and there was a big, suck hole over at, Frank Pope's place, and it would go into there, it would drain down that creek under that bridge, and it would go in that suck hole and go in back into the aquifer. But it takes a lot of water to get it up to the point that it goes over that bridge. I haven't seen it go over that bridge in a long time, several.
Yeah, if you look at the Google Maps current picture, it's pretty dry, so, I didn't think that.
But it, like Bill said, it fluctuates so much. It can be full one year, and by the end of the year, it can be just down to mud holes almost.
Yeah.
It does fluctuate a lot, but it's not spring fed as far as I know. There's no spring fed. It does feed off of Christmas Lake, which is on the back side of it.
Right.
I don't know if Christmas Lake has a spring in it or not. I've never seen Christmas Lake dry in my lifetime.
Okay, so that is the, 7 priorities. The hope is that the report will go in, this report will become part of the county's local mitigation strategy. That basically just provides some more background for when the county ultimately submits applications to be able to go in and improve some of these areas and mitigate flooding impacts. The state of Florida hopefully will select something that we put in, and we can get a couple of these addressed. So that is ultimate goal, is to get some grant applications in, get some grant funding. So that's the end of the presentation. I'd like for anybody that has a comment to please come to the podium. My name and number are up there, and email. So this time, if anybody has something they'd like to say regarding the presentation, please come forward.
I think that, I mean, you hit Otter and you hit, Rock Bluff, but anywhere along the river, I mean, down at Sun Springs, the boat landing down there, it doesn't have to go up very high at all, and it's not accessible. It goes over, and I think that's pretty much true. It goes over the bridge at Otter Springs, it goes over the boat ramp there, it goes over the road, and it doesn't have to be 100-year flood. All it's gotta do is go up, 10, 12 feet, and those roads are inaccessible. So I know you've got Otter and Rock Bluff down there, but it's really anywhere along the river. Yeah.
And this focus was on, public resources, not private residential.
That's right.
Would
That's
there
right.
be-
We kind of had to broach that early on, and I had to go talk to the administrators in the state office because, they talked a lot about power generation and water and sewer and that kind of thing. And in this area, when I approached the power companies, they weren't real eager to put their names out there. In fact, they told me they really didn't want to be a part of it, but they had their own internal things that they would address any of that with. So the power went out, and then most of the other was going to be addressed in the city of Trenton, because as you know, they did their own study. So we kind of excluded any of those kind of public infrastructures inside of the city of Trenton. That is in theirs.
Yeah. Will there be any effort to focus on residential, vulnerable areas along the river?
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
It's basically public infrastructure is really the focus.
Yeah, the other thing that comes to mind, I should have provided this input, but, what is it, Northwest 73rd Way, Bobby, you remember? There's a big culvert and the grade that goes to Northwest 73rd Way, kind of just north of Log Landing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you got that in here or not, but.
I think it is listed in some of
it's
the
in there?
roads,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, there's a lot more than is on that list. It's
Yeah, we
actually-
started with 147 properties, and as we went through the process, the most vulnerable kind of kept coming up to the top. There are lots and lots of areas. I did want to mention one thing. city of Bell had put in, 5 road areas that they thought occasionally were flooded or had little potholes that stuck around too long. And, we have gone and put together an MSTOP application for the DOT grant program, for Bell, for the road that had 3 of the spots on it. So that's gonna be submitted as an alternate, kind of maybe see if we can get them some MSTOP money, and I think the chances are fairly good, quite frankly, that they may get that before some of this funding could come available. So just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it, that's all I had. Thank you, Bobby. Oh, I do need to say, this will be recorded. Is this being recorded?
Yes.
I didn't see Kevin, so I haven't got that.
Ralph.
Anyway, so it'll be recorded, it'll be available on Facebook, so if anybody wants to go back and review it, just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
For Rancho Rosen, there's a really very good article about non-native grass called meadowfruit, but it's non-invasive, based on steroids that very easy. Tolerant of salt, nutrients.
Our next item is, B under general is keys to home. And what we have is the North Central Florida Homeless COC. They're looking for, you don't have to, but they're wondering if they represent Alachua, Bradford, Gilchrist, Levy, Putnam counties. Their task is to end homelessness. They work off of donations a lot mainly. And what they were wanting to know is if the county can have a position on their board, and would y'all like to appoint a member to be on that board? Now, all of their meetings, it looks like they're the first Thursday of each month at 3:30, and they're on a Microsoft Teams, so you don't have to travel anywhere or anything, but it's not a have to, it's if y'all would like to.
How about, do we have a staff person that would fit, Bobby?
We could probably find someone.
Unless somebody here wants to serve on that. Just an idea.
Were they asking for, well, it says in accordance with section 3AI2 of the local COC chapter of the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners, or is designee may appoint one member. Yeah,
And,
anybody want to volunteer?
I mean, if y'all want, we can probably find a staff member to attend these and then determine whether
Could you find
something we should need to continue to attend or not.
Could you bring us a volunteer? Or an appointee?
Why don't y'all just do it as a designee of the county administrator? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do they need to vote on that, Duke, or is that good enough?
Is that a consensus of the board?
Yes.
Good?
Okay.
All right. The next item I have is number 7, under Heart Springs. As you know, we have 2 FERDAP grants out there, one now for the spring park, one now for the, campground. Oh, man. And, what we're looking to do, we are funded to buy some playground equipment. This will be for the Springs Park. We're looking to buy the equipment in an amount of $16,557. It is on buy board. That is a purchasing, that we are, a program that we're a member of. So we would like to buy that off buy board. And again, that is grant funded. So we just need approval of the board to move forward with that purchase.
Is the playground equipment, movable, or is it gonna hold up in a flood pretty well? Cause, Hart is one of those areas that floods just about as often as any of the springs in this area.
Brian Green at Hart Springs Rock, if you scroll up a little bit more, to actually see the playground, features. It's, very consistent with the, playground that's currently at the springs. There's a 100-year warranty as well on all the metal for the entire playground.
Okay.
That's gonna be beneficial for flooding. This company, they do with all kinds of different, municipalities, counties, as well as university schools. So they do have a track record of providing good materials. The other playground that's currently there hasn't shown any wear and tear really, other than, normal usage wear and tear with all the floods it's, been through in the recent years and in the past as well.
It looks like something the kids would like.
Yep. Yep, always looking for something to keep kids busy, keep them out of trouble.
So it's totally grant funded by FERDAP. And Mr. Thomas, did you make a motion? Yep. I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Thomas and a second by Commissioner Smith to approve the purchase of the Monkey in the Middle playground for Hart Springs. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Are you getting ready to get into your busy season?
Yes.
All right, you've been getting some sleep these last couple months, cause it's like a newborn family. You're gonna be pretty busy here come June, July, August.
Yeah, yes, sir, absolutely. Actually, the campground stand continuously busy.
Okay.
Actually, I ran another today, and on normal weekdays, we're at 91% occupancy.
That's awesome.
And then the weekends, we're at 100% every day.
And the springs are clear now and all that.
Yes, and
Good deal.
we're seeing reservations already popped in. We actually had the spring house reserved last weekend as well. So people are utilizing the warmer weather while they get a chance just to get an early summer and early spring.
Brian, what about the new wash facility and as far as people using that and our payback?
So, yes, sir. So the laundry room, only 39 deposits, 39 weeks since October 1st. We've already seen $4,100 come in just from that laundry room, which is over a 200% increase. So that's fantastic in just a short period of time. Again, so that's comparing to last year. At the same time, there's October 1 to today, we're only at $1,900. So now we're looking at $4,183.75. So that's very well. The leaves are great from the campers. They love it. We've got some rocking chairs on the table out there. We've got the quarter machine in there so they can, get off try and hunt someone down to get quarters for the machine. So, and right now we're running 3 washers, 3 dryers, and we did build a building where we can actually add a 4th of each.
There's a hidden return on that too that we can't really measure. But a few of the folks have told us it used to come, they used their washers and dryers in their campers. So they meant they were using power that we couldn't bill them for. Now, because of the facility being so nice, they're using our facility, so they're using less electric. So there's no way to figure out what that amount is, but it has created a little positive in that way as well too.
You're also gonna have more campers because you got the facility to take care of it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, like I said, today it's 91% occupancy rating, and on a Monday, no holidays.
Yeah.
And while last year, we're sitting, 75, 80.
Yeah.
So, and we've got more campers coming in. We're riding around the city, see the 39th building, and yes, that's what it is. It's almost a laundry, and they're like, wow, we can't hear nothing. We don't get that.
Good.
All right, good deal.
Thank you, sir.
Next item I have is under number 8, community paramedic. It's an MOU with Ayers Health and Rehabilitation Center. As you know, Mr. Ryan Clemens has been working with our community paramedic program as well. And this is an agreement with Ayers Health and Rehabilitation for assistance. I can let him explain what assistance that will be. This has also been reviewed by Mr. Lang as well, and Ayers has already signed.
Right, from the community paramedicine. This is just an MOU. All of my grant requires that all of my community partners and I have an MOU. Particularly with Ayers, what we are looking at doing is partnering with their discharges. So when they send patients home into our town, I will have a heads up on them to be able to visit the house. They do a really great job at
Big area when people get out of nursing homes, they say, oh yeah, they got everything covered, and then they get home and realize they don't have everything covered. I think that's a great place to be able to work with. So I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU for the community paramedic program.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martin and a second by Commissioner Smith to approve the MOU with Ayers.
Brian, there's no cost. It's just basically communication improvement, coordination. How about Tri-County? Are we thinking?
we will.
Yeah.
It's a matter of me having time to go swim at this point.
Well, I think you do a great job with that.
Thank you, sir. I
Appreciate you.
Yep, yep. Thank you.
You're probably gonna see several of these over the next few months, because like he stated, the grant and the program requires him to have an MOU with who he works with. So as he gets these put together, you'll see more and more of them coming through. So
Do you think your program's turned out better than you expected?
So far, I think so. A lot more demand than I probably expected. There's 16 on my waiting list right now. I haven't had a chance to get to. BOCC has helped me out a lot with bringing on a community health worker with on a leave. She's able to do a lot of that background for me after I've seen.
yeah, Donna's a great asset. Great asset. So
I'm pleased so far, though.
We are.
I hope to have good data in the next couple of years for you.
Good.
Thank you, Ron.
all right, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
The next item is under EMS, number 9. It's his oil service plan to cover some of our monitors. As you know, we have to have those worked on, batteries, all different types of things, and that is an amount of $3,240. We have this on some other equipment as well. It's an extended warranty. We just need approval to move forward. We do have the money in the budget.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Thomas and a second by Commissioner Martin to approve the Expert Care Extended Warranty and Preventative Maintenance Contract with Zoll. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
The next item we have is under emergency management. We have a task order for North Florida Professional Services. We have a grant that y'all approved a little while back in the amount of $413. The grant was for about, $443,000, and what it's for is design and engineering services to, in addition to the OC and upgrades, and these were sent to us by the State Department of Emergency Management asking for this to be done. So they funded the work to be done. We have a task order here today with North Florida Professional Services and the amount of $413,795. We just need approval to enter into this task order, and again, as well as it's grant funded also.
Sounds like this is a little like that vulnerability study effort where the state leadership thought it was a priority and provided funding for the engineering study.
Yes.
And then, once you get that, they'll probably provide funds for construction, potentially. You hear the governor talk about how important emergency operations are and response to storms and how good we do it. And I think they're just wanting to build on that. That's probably the reason you're seeing this.
We hope that they'll put money towards it instead of just say, hey, this is the recommendation, y'all take care of it. Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some money tied with it to get these things done. We really have a really very nice EOC right now. Are they planning on extending the size of it? Tell us what they're looking to do over there.
Ralph Smith, Emergency Management Director. So hopefully what we're looking at right now is adding on to the back of the EOC. And we're gonna have our command room, the big room that we all go in during storms. That'll be on the back side. It'll be twice as big as the one that we have now. We're gonna look at doing some sleeping areas and some shower areas. And then also, we're gonna have a full kitchen that we can actually cook instead of having to buy meals. So we're looking at, I believe it was 7,200 square feet more than what we have now.
That'll be nice.
It'll be very nice. It's basically going to be exactly what the original plans of the EOC was before it was done, before Smoke was done.
In this proposal, it's 100% grant.
Right, 100% grant funding. And this is only for design all the way through to the end of the RFP. This does not cover any of the buildings.
I had a couple of questions too.
And this is a continuing services agreement with North Florida. We don't have to, they're on our rotation, and so we
Correct.
just roll them in to this, capacity. I didn't see in the one that was on my system where we'd added the public records language to
can add
this
it.
agreement, which we need to add. That's pursuant to Florida
It
Statute
is
one
part of
nineteen,
their-
10701. We have to have that public language in there, but now legislature has come up with another, thing. I think they had a special session not too long ago, and, now it's Florida statutes, 787.06 regarding human trafficking. And so anytime you enter into an agreement with a non-governmental entity, such as North Florida, you have to have them execute an affidavit when the contract is executed, renewed, or extended, between a non-governmental entity and a governmental entity. The non-governmental entity must provide the governmental entity with an affidavit signed by an officer or representative of the non-governmental entity under penalty of perjury, attesting that the non-governmental entity does not use coercion for labor or services as defined in this section. That's when it's dealing with human trafficking in any form. So that's a new nuance of the legislature that we now have to put with our public records, memorandum that we attach.
There's actually one of those documents that he's speaking about, the new document. It is actually attached to the MOU that you just approved.
Yes, the one with heirs, I had just approved that for Ryan when that was taken care of.
So we'll add that to it along with the public records language. They also have the public records language in their master contract as well.
Right. But just going forward, you'll see those from now. They'll have public records language that they have to comply with public records law, and also you'll have that affidavit that they're not using coercion on any of their workforce, and everything is up to speed and done correctly. Okay?
If you have any other questions for me, I also have an initial drawing of what it would look like if you want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate it.
Could I just get clarification on Tori? On page 3 of the document, it says total fee $413,795, and then below it, it says $11,125. Is that part of the 413 or?
Corey Humphreys, North Florida Professional Services. What he is referencing is the reimbursable. So part of this grant requires, LEED certification or global Green Globe certification, and that would be the fee, and that's an estimate on what we anticipate the fee being, depending on which organization
You go
it
with.
has to go through, it will have a fee in addition to.
So that would be paid to them
to
outside
Green Globes or,
lead.
LEED, I can't think of the official title of that, but it'll go to one of them once we get further into it, figure out which organization is better. And that's a requirement of the grant.
And is that part of the,
That still can be covered underneath the grant amount, if that's what you're asking.
so it is a covered expense, but also would that be before you got started? You're gonna have to have that certification, or is that after you start building?
That's when everything's done. And then we have an architect for this project, and I mean, it's a rather expensive group of folks. Once the plans reach a certain level, then we go after that. So it's no different than a water management permit, because we have to do water management via Department of Health and some other stuff. Except for the certification and not an actual permit application.
But this grant has already previously been approved.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that would be part of your additional grant funding that you guys have.
Okay.
Corey, when would the engineering design be completed?
I think we have, 6 to 9 months. There's a permitting piece of this. Water management's gonna be involved. Department of Health will be involved. This will also we'll have ICC 500 standards for shelter and some other stuff, so that's a little bit more involved. I'd probably say 6 to 9 months. The permitting part of this is we're on the edge of water management changing rules. So right here on this edge where we may make it in time and we may not, so I'd say 6 to 9 months.
Are you aware, or Ralph maybe, of the construction funds from the state?
No, we weren't part of this, we weren't part of your grant application.
Okay.
I think you guys got this, about a year ago. So we weren't part of that, but I think that was in that cycle, that's all there was the design. the measure.
Emergency management. So this grant comes to pretty much all small counties who apply for it, and it's a public safety complex grant. So when you look at the design, you'll see where we have a room for the sheriff's office, a room for dispatch, a room for our ham operators. But as of right now, they have not announced any funding to build the actual building. So hopefully that's coming after we get this done.
This gets you shovel ready.
This gets me shovel ready.
It also helps them kind of create the needs by county of knowing what people need, so when they get the additional funding.
Any more discussion? I'd hate to go through this process and get it all designed and they not fund it, but I guess that's a chance to take.
I gotta think, if they're allowing this money to
Yeah.
move forward like this, they got the money,
They got something in mind.
They got a plan, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the task order for the EOC grant addition. And do we need to, we don't need to waive any,
You don't need to waive anything, but you need to, with the addition of the public records and a coercion affidavit.
that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second it. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Smith and a second by Commissioner Martin to approve the task order with North Florida Professional Services for the grant funding for the addition to the EOC. Any, sir?
Yes, sir.
Capital improvement? Okay with that? Okay, addition to that motion, the funding process will go through capital improvement. And you'll bring us a budget in. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
The next item I have is my agenda change, which is based for the repair of the courthouse roof. We recently had a leak in our recent rains. We reached out to Keeler Roofing for an estimate, but to kind of explain to you, we've done quite a bit of roof work on the courthouse. These particular two that need to be redone, they just need shingles. They've never been redone. It's original roof, to my knowledge, on that courthouse. There's two separate roofs over the actual courtrooms. We have a lot of missing shingles, which probably came from the past storms this year and the age and deterioration. We reached out and had Keeler come to provide us an estimate. Mr. Newton and I have looked at the estimate. We would recommend there's a GAF Silver Pledge warranty for an additional $400 cost that just helps you with workmanship and losses of shingles. It would cover that for about 10 years on workmanship with unlimited wind warranty or stain guard. So we'd be looking at a total of $23,850 to repair these two roofs. Mr. Newton reached out to the chief judge. Y'all heard us talk before about court facilities fund. We have some money in that fund. The chief judge has agreed that we can use that money, so it won't come out of our general account. The chief judge does have to give us permission to use those funds, and since it directly affects the courts, he is willing to pay 100% of this repair. What we're asking you to do is waive the bid process. Because of it actually leaking, we want to get the repair done quickly as we can. Mr. Chance Buchholz with Keeler Roofing is trying to have someone there as soon as this weekend to do this repair, so it won't interfere with any courts or any type of operation of the courthouse as well, too. So that's why we brought this. Mr. Newton, I think, maybe just received the information today that the chief judge that approved it, and then we have the estimate from early last week. And we just noticed the leak probably about a week ago or so. So this is all happening pretty quick. But we do need the board's approval. to move forward with Keeler Roofing and waive the bid process based on the urgency of getting the roof done quickly so that we don't continue to have a leak, when it rains.
All right, so moved.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martin and a second by Commissioner Thomas to approve the roof repair for the courthouse.
With
Waiving the bids.
waiving the bids, right.
I do like to bid it out, and y'all know that, but I understand what you're saying, and that is a local company, they're right here.
Right here.
In Trenton, and the urgency is the leaking roof. Sometimes it takes a while to go through the bid process and all that kind of stuff, so I can see the urgency.
And I would say this, the leak is actually right over some of the wood banisters.
Yeah.
And it's already started delaminating.
It needs to be done yesterday.
Yeah.
So the repair include any wood damage in the roof or?
Yeah.
Well, wood damage would be additional cost.
Yeah,
We don't really expect any based on what we've seen, but they could be a small area. But we won't know that till they tear the shingles off.
Maybe the chief judge.
Hopefully it hasn't, well, it's included in the quote. They, like typically with roofing, they give you a quote for your materials and for your labor. And because they don't know the extent of potential wood damage, they just give you a rate for if you have to replace, sheets of plywood, or if you have to have any kind of wood, and that's actually included in this. So actually, we probably do need to include in the motion to include any potential wood damage if there is any.
Having dealt with that company personally before, normally they give you an estimate that serves as the contract, and it has a cost built in for up to so many squares of
Right.
lumber, and anything in excess of that, then, of course, comes back on you.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised we don't have an estimate from them as to how they would proceed with that.
We have a wood cost estimate.
No, I mean like an estimate to make the repair. They had already, it served, that might be it right there.
Right, here's the woodwork rates. Repair damaged roof decking at a rate of half-inch OSB, $80 per sheet, half-inch CDX, $100 per sheet, 5/8 CDX, 110, 3/4 CDX, 130.
Yeah, that's an extra cost that they've got
Yeah.
built in for any wood they have to repair.
Correct.
I'll include the cost that may be needed to, an extra wood to make the repair satisfactory.
So we're good with that. You agree with that, Mr. Clement? Yes. Okay, so we're gonna waive the bid, and the judge's fees are gonna pay for it, right?
Yes.
And we're gonna include, any additional wood repair would have to, be addressed also. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, that ends my reports unless you have some more questions to me, but I want to thank Mr. Smith for sitting in today. Ms. Caitlin took a vacation on us, so, he's sitting in today helping us, so.
He's doing a good job.
Doing a good job.
Much better job than I do, I can promise you that.
Anything, Mr. Lane?
Not unless you have questions.
Okay, we'll go to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on my report is a budget recap as of February 27th. A little over 40% of the year completed. In the general fund, we've had year-to-date expenditures of $11,323,000 with revenues of $13,302,000. In fire, we've had year-to-date expenditures of just over $516,000 with revenues of just over $973,000. In the transportation department, we've had year-to-date expenditures of $1,295,000 versus revenues of $1,538,000. In the EMS, we've had year-to-date expenditures of $889,000 versus revenues of $1,551,000. And in solid waste, current year-to-date expenditures $508,000 versus revenues of just over $800,000.
Everything looks good to you.
Yes, sir. I mean, really, the only one that's, a little bit, above as far as expenditures would be your transportation department. We have had most of your major lease payments have gone out for the year, which does skew it somewhat. So nothing of major concern at this point.
All right, well, thank you very much
Yeah.
for doing this.
Next item is, the board had asked me about the Spring Ridge project, and what we should do with that. I mentioned about a loan program that I wanted to look into. I do have some information for you in regards to that. It's the Florida Local Government Finance Program. This is a program that was started a little over 30 years ago. It's enabled by statute, and the governing body is actually 4 different counties that kind of oversee this project. It is a commercial paper loan program. So for anybody that doesn't know what commercial paper is, it's basically short-term notes that are typically issued by government entities. They're anywhere from 30 to 120-day notes. And so this program is continually issuing commercial paper, and they're able to loan out the funds that they generate from these commercial paper issues, and are able to loan those out to counties and cities. So that's their primary focus. That's what their business is. And this is actually administered by the Florida Association of Counties. So FAC actually administers the program. The way the program works is whatever the rate is on the commercial paper, you pay on, that's the interest that you pay on your loans that you take out from the program. And then there's administrative costs that are basically tacked on by each entity that purchase or loans from the program.
That's a per year, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the interest rate is whatever. I didn't see no interest rate in here, but
Yeah,
it's
you're
just whatever it is at that time.
correct. And it fluctuates as a variable rate. Every month it's going to change. Which the good news is right now it's actually, we're in the outlook on interest rates is that interest rates are going to continue to decline. Last month for February, the commercial paper rate was 2.9%. Our administrative costs on the loan is 85 or 89 basis points. So for this, if we had this in February, we'd have had a rate of, around 379. So I believe it's a good program. Basically, we were approved to do up to $1.5 million of a loan. This particular project, we don't need $1.5 million. We need a little less than 1.3. They only do it in $100,000 increments. So we'd be borrowing $1.3 million. And I had structured this as a 5-year note, in essence, so we would pay it off in 5 years with variable rates of interest. As I said, I would anticipate at least over the next, 12 to 18 months, we're probably going to see that rate continue to go down. But the bottom line is the money that we currently have invested, we earn more than what we're looking at paying in interest on this particular note.
Yeah.
So again, that would be my recommendation. If the board agrees with that, the way this program works is initially you're charged $2,000 per $1 million that you loan from them.
Right.
So basically for $1.3 million, it would cost us $2,000 to enter the program. That would never have to be paid again.
Yeah.
So as long as we stay in the program, we pay this down, we can actually borrow funds again from them by resolution. Mm-hmm. So the loan agreement that's in this packet here basically allows us to, enter the program. And now the loan agreement stays in effect for as long as we continue to stay with them. Mm-hmm. If we pay this loan off, we could go back to them at some point by resolution and say, we have another project. It has to be a capital project. It can't just be for operating expenses. It has to be for it to be tax-free, a tax-free note, it has to be on a capital project. But if there was another capital project that we wanted to borrow down the road, after we paid this off, we could borrow again up to $1.5 million. If we needed additional funds, again, we would have to, go to them and seek approval to, raise our limit above the $1.5 million. And if we, got over another $1 million, then we'd have to pay the $2,000 again, for any additional $1 million that we loan out.
And the interest rate would be paying right now is less than what we're earning on the money that we've got. Yeah, then that's a no-brainer. If we're gonna pay less than what we're making, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Correct.
I looked at it, I thought, and I appreciate you looking into this
certainly do
and
too.
suggesting it, because I think it's the best way we could possibly do it right now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And again, variable rate in a rising market, you have to be cautious. In a rising market, however, with commercial paper, again, it's a short-term note, so the rates are typically a little less than your longer-term notes.
If the interest rate goes, we are able to go ahead and pay it off.
We can pay it off at any time, that the board
So I mean,
chooses
if their
to.
interest rate ever grew higher than what we're making, then we would certainly want to just go ahead and take it out of the general fund and pay it off.
Correct. So that is something that we'll keep our eyes on down the road, if 3 years down the road, the rate gets well above what we're currently earning, then at that point, we probably want to just go ahead and pay it off. But that's a decision that, we have the opportunity to make down the road.
Yeah.
How come we didn't go to a marriage in capital city in Drummond?
Well, we can take it out to bid if the board chooses to. I can tell you,
They've always been good to us.
I can tell you right now that you're going to get a fixed rate that's going to be above this. I could just about guarantee you that. Otherwise, that's the only reason I was looking into this, because I felt like this program, what I'd seen, would provide us a better rate. If we do take it out to bid, I think our rate will be above what we're currently earning.
Well, you can still bring us back that information before we do this.
I can. It'll take us a good, 30 to 45 days. If that's the board's wishes, we can sure do that. But again, my anticipation would be we'll get a rate that's going to be above what we're earning.
I know we got good credit on the bank, and they been good.
I'm happy with this one right here myself. I mean, I don't mind looking at the bank, but like Todd said, that's probably gonna be higher, plus we've got to go through the process of doing all that, and then I don't know what the, closing costs, administrative costs, or nothing like that would be, but to me, this here is as good as it gets right here.
I agree with both of them. I like, the fact that if we can support local, we can, but I also want to get the best deal we can get. And from what you're telling me, we're not gonna get a better deal from a local bank, but they just don't do what this program's doing. They've gotta make money at it, so they're gonna charge interest rate plus what they need to make to be able to give us some money, so it's not gonna be as cheap as this is.
Do you have any idea, Todd, how much difference money-wise we're talking about? It would be 8% or 2 more with the local banks, or?
I would say it's going to be probably around 1 to 1.5% higher.
Yeah. That's about the going rate.
So money-wise.
Yeah, I need to ask a couple questions too, just get some clarity on my point, because I read this thing, it's a 65-page loan agreement, and it's very technical, and there's an 8-page resolution they want you to pass if you're gonna enter into this thing. Todd had mentioned each time you draw is $2,000. Well, if you draw it all at one
No,
time,
not each time you draw.
so if you draw $100,000, you pay $2,000.
No.
You got that clarified.
There's $2,000 per $1 million that you borrow from this program.
Okay.
And what I was told was that if we borrow 1.3, we're just going to be paying $2,000.
Then I had 2 other issues of heartburn, and I think you can straighten this out for me, because
Sure.
I saw an email back from Steve Miller, who is the bond counsel for Neighbors Giblin, who actually does the bond work for the Florida League of Cities, or Florida Association of Counties, excuse me.
That's right.
One was that they had buried in the depths of that 65-page document that we were borrowing $1.5 million. The email that came back was from his paralegal, was that they gave you some cushion in there for those administrative fees and costs, and I suspect that is to pay the bond counsel.
No, sir. So when I initially approached them about a project, they asked, how much are you looking at borrowing? And so I said, probably somewhere around $1.5 million. And, when they basically looked at our financials, because they basically do an underwriting of the entity, the agency, to try and determine what your costs are going to be. And that's where the 89 basis points comes from. That's our costs for this program is 89 basis points.
Well, I mean, our resolution says we're gonna borrow 1.3 million.
Correct.
And then Miss Eileen Gianfrancesco, who was the paralegal for Steve Miller, she wrote back that, Steve will have to address your questions on rate calculation.
That's a
And
different, different question than
and
what you're
it was-
addressing.
Well, and they had made a mistake in the, mailing address.
Correct. And
courthouse
they
address.
corrected that.
I had
for us.
that corrected, but she said, as per the amount, the loan agreement allows aggregate principal outstanding at any time not to exceed 1.5 million.
Correct. So basically, down
What's
the
that
road,
that $200,000 difference is what was questioning.
that is the amount that we were approved up to for this program
Okay,
as of right now. So basically, if we paid this off tomorrow, took out the loan, we paid it off 6 months down the road, and we have another capital project that we want to try and fund through this program, we already have a loan agreement in place with them up to $1.5 million. But a loan can only be initiated by resolution of this board.
right.
So in other words, we pay off this loan 6 months down the road, and they have another project that they want to fund through this program. They could do a resolution approving $1.5 million for another capital project, and we don't have to do anything different with our loan agreement. Now, if they said we need $5 million, then I have to go back to the program and say, listen, we have a project for $5 million. We'd have to do a new loan agreement and a new resolution. In this case, if you had a $1.5 million project, all the board has to do is approve a $1.5 million resolution.
Okay, I have two other points, and I'll leave you alone.
No worries.
From my reading of this, you had your option to pledge collateral or not pledge collateral, and we've chosen, we're not pledging any stream of revenue to finance this thing. Is that correct?
Correct. It's basically, we just have to, we have to agree that we're going to appropriate funds to
Well,
pay
yeah, that's a
this.
covenant in there, covenant
Correct.
to pledge and, covenant to budget and appropriate.
Correct.
And the second thing, and I had a little heartburn about this, and I think they straightened this out with you, and I believe you had responded to Steve Miller. In this document also, for a period of 120 days, it said we could charge 7.5%. What is that on, Todd?
So that, what you're referring to is the bank rate, and Richard and Wesley and I had some heartburn about this as well, and until we, got clarification. Basically, what it says is the bank rate is one of these several different potential things, but the only time that it becomes in play is if commercial paper notes cannot be remarketed by the dealer.
That doesn't mean that if we enter into this agreement, for the first 4 months, they're gonna charge us 7.5 on 1.3 million.
No, it's only in the case where the commercial paper cannot be remarketed. And I can tell you in 30 years, I looked back to see what the commercial paper rate was, for basically every quarter or basically every month over the past, I think I saw all the way back to the 90s. Their rates have never been over 4%, kind of the 4% ballpark. And that's been within the past couple of years because of rates going up. So, there is that provision in there. And I'll be the first to say, if it ever got to anything above, much over where we're at right now, we'd be looking at just paying it off. But looking historically.
On this loan, we still have our roughly 600,000 coming in from the Spring Ridge residents on the paving project.
Correct.
So our net loss would be the difference between the 6 and the 1.3 we're having to pay.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
that's all I have.
feeling that we need to get to the bank and see what they do. Tonight, or financial with. Well, right now, they're gonna be higher, I can tell you. You saying that's our financial person, that's a good deal, you think?
I agree with trying to support local, but they gotta make money, differently than this guy needs to be paid back, the bank's gotta make money. And they're gonna charge you all the little fees that are attached to it, and it's gonna end up costing us more through a bank than what this is. I think this is the best way to go
This
myself.
is, our state association.
Right.
Basically supported organization, so it's a not-for-profit.
That's what I'm saying, they're not trying to make profit, they just wanna make their money back. And the bank's gotta make a profit, so I think this is the best way to go. So at that, I will make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09.
I think we need to read it first.
Okay,
Read
I'll read it.
read it, but
Yeah.
he can read it if he wants.
I'll read it. I'll read it
I'm sitting
back.
here reading it myself.
just for the public in the record, you need to read
Okay,
it.
then
So-
I'll retract my motion at this point in time.
So we have resolution number 2025-09. This is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Gilchrist County, Florida, agreeing to participation in a pooled commercial paper loan program of the Florida Local Government Finance Commission, authorizing and directing execution and delivery of a loan agreement with the Florida Local Government Finance Commission and J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A., authorizing the borrowing of not exceeding $1.3 million pursuant to the terms of the loan agreement in order to finance costs of the Spring Ridge Road Improvement Project, authorizing the execution of a loan note or loan notes to evidence such borrowing, and agreeing to secure such borrowing with the covenant to budget and appropriate legally available non-ad valorem revenues of the county, all as provided in the loan agreement, authorizing the execution and delivery of such documents as may be necessary to effect such borrowing, and providing an effective date, and that's by reading title only. I would say, as far as included in the motion, if we could approve the resolution, and to approve the chairman to sign all documents required to move forward.
And I believe also that the reason on this is it's in keeping with the Florida Intergovernmental Act. So we
Correct.
don't have to go out, because you're dealing with another governmental entity for the loan of the money. Is that correct?
To be honest, I mean, to cover ourselves, I mean, I think it would be okay for us to waive the bidding requirement on this project, based on the fact that it is a kind of an intergovernment agency, and it's providing.
They're basing a lot of their statements in there on the interlocal agreement type
Yeah,
language.
Florida Statute 163.
That's correct.
And again, the bottom line is if we did go out to bid looking for provisions that this program offers, there really isn't anything else out there that offers what they do. So you would not, if you did a bid packet saying this is what we are looking for, a program similar to this, there is no other, so.
Well, we're a member of the Florida Association of Counties.
That's
So
correct.
you're sort of, in a way, borrowing from yourself.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but that's kind of the analysis that I made. So
Yep.
maybe if we waive the bid requirement, we ought to have that included in the minutes.
Okay. Let's make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-09 and state that the bid requirements are waived because it's an intergovernment organization we're borrowing from,
That we belong to,
Correct.
and allow the chairman to sign.
And allow the chairman to sign the paperwork.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martin and a second by Commissioner Smith to approve resolution number 2025-09 and to waive the bidding process because we are part of the Florida Association of Counties, and to allow the chairman to sign the documents and paperwork. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. This is passed.
I don't intention to vote no on this thing, because I'd like to see local people get the chance at it. But Mr. Roman's recommendation, he's pretty sharp, so hopefully he'll.
I think it's the best deal, to be honest with you, because I've looked at it and I don't mind bidding it out to the bank, but it'd be another process and like Richard said, there may be some additional fees there for the bonds and all this other kind of stuff that you have to go through. And basically, I just don't see how you could beat this after hearing Todd's presentation and Richard's presentation. I just don't see how you could beat it.
I agree.
Well, I have to defer my opinion to more informed authorities too, because like I say, this is a brand new.
Yeah,
method of
something we've never
financing.
done before.
Yep,
so.
I don't think we've undertaken something like this before, so
Yeah.
it's kind of unusual for all of us that we don't usually.
And just for your knowledge, this particular entity that we're going with, 50 different counties in the state have utilized their program. I don't know how many municipalities, but a number of municipalities. I did speak last week to one of the participants, Wakulla County, has borrowed in excess of around $50 million through this program. They had a large CDBG program that they were doing through grants, and I think they did 30 million one time and 20 million another time. You know, Wakulla's a little bit larger than us, but not much larger than us, you know, and I spoke to the clerk there, you know, about how that program had worked for him, and he said it was phenomenal and that he highly recommended it. So again, you know, that I tried to do my due diligence on this and research and, you know, the best I could. And again, I think it is hopefully going to be a very good program for the county.
I'm glad you found it.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. Sounds like a good situation where we can get things at a really, really good rate, actually less than what we're already earning on our money. That seems like a win situation for us.
Anything else, Mr. Clerk?
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. No time certain today?
No, sir.
We'll go with our commissioner reports. Sharon not being here, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I talked to a commissioner from Taylor County the other day, last week, and as a result of the Georgia Pacific facility going out and losing 500 or 600 jobs and the value of that facility as well as their hurricane damage, I understood him to say they're going to be short roughly $3 million in revenue to their county budget. And so I got to thinking about that along with what we're hearing at the national level, you know, government efficiency efforts, as well as the governor saying he's thinking about something similar at state level. If I wanted to just throw out the idea to the board, maybe we have, what do you think about having a citizens advisory committee? It be a short-term, small group, successful business people, take a look at the high level. And I know I talked to Richard in the past about trends and Todd about trends and Bobby, and I'm just wondering if something like that for several months, I'm not saying an ongoing kind of thing, but they look at our trends and see if they got recommendations on how we can be more efficient or something they see from a business standpoint. And I don't know what you guys think about that, and you know, Sharon's not here, but just wanted to throw that out. Think about, we don't have to necessarily discuss it today, but maybe at the next meeting.
The Gilchrist County Doge Committee?
Well, I mean, it could be an efficiency kind of thing, but just high level financial we want to be as efficient as
We
we
do.
can be, and I think our staff tries to do that. I know our financial staff works at that, and we do as a board, and maybe there's something we're not seeing, and they would see because they're successful in the business. So
I wouldn't have a problem with a group getting together and looking to see if, you know, all mine smarter than ours might see ways that they can make improvements. But yeah, it would be I would think it would be let them meet, let them do a little bit of research and come back with any recommendations. I don't have a problem with that at all if we've got some people in the community that would like to be on that board. Like I said, I have enough confidence in our staff that I think we've done a really good job. I'm also confident enough in y'all to think that we've done a really good job, but there may be things we're missing.
We also have an audit done every year, so that
Yeah.
always turns out real good.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem in looking at it. When we may, somewhere down the line, give the state a little time, the governor a little time to do some of his inside work or undercover work or whatever he intends to do and see what he's finding, what he's looking at. It might give us some ideas of what we need to learn. I'm all for looking at anything that we can do to make it better. I'm certainly, interested in that.
So what you're doing is looking for an evaluation of this board and staff.
no, it would be look at high level the budget, where we get our money from, where we're susceptible. Like Taylor County, they're in a bad situation where they're gonna.
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Dent
Yeah.
last Thursday night.
So are there things where we're getting revenue that could cause us the same kind of issue or any other thing from a business standpoint?
Some what ifs.
Yeah, what ifs, and we just don't know. I'm sure the governor and the legislature's they're gonna develop their own thing, and over half of our budget comes from revenues, right, from the state, federal sources, and so it could be they cut that back, and we'll cut that back probably.
Well, that's what I'm looking at, all this money he's giving shirts and everything like that, deputy. The next governor might not fund that, and where's that gonna put us? We don't be in trouble. And many storms as we had, I look for state money to be cut and going somewhere else.
So anyway, maybe just think about it and the next meeting, we can have a little discussion. Don't think that's worthwhile, Bobby, and
I ain't got no problem with it. If we can better serve the community, I'm all for it. And I got no problem with cutting.
all right, so, yeah.
So you got it? Good.
I don't have anything. I did attend a health services, meeting at the library this last week, and, all the different health entities from the Tri-County area were there, and, they discussed the programs with, the SWAT, the smoking things, and pregnant women, and, all the different things that are going on. The health department was there, and then all the other entities from the Tri-County area. I found it to be a very informative meeting and enjoyed it very much. So I told them I'd try to get back. A lot of times I haven't been able to meet their meetings, but made a couple now, and they're good meetings, and they got a lot of people in the community trying to help people out as far as new births and breastfeeding and just all the different health issues that go along. There's a lot of agencies that work on that, and so it was interesting. A lot of educational things for teens and for kids and for adults that can help them out. So I saw it to be very interesting. Other than that, I had no other.
The DEI word for that is chest feeding, not breastfeeding.
Oh,
Commissioner Thomas? Do what?
I got a question. What about Hart Springs Campground? Where do we at with that?
I should have the task order to present to y'all next week so that we can get moving forward with it. We received
What was the question?
How's everything going at Hart Springs Campground?
They're,
Not the big campground, the camping back at Park.
Right. We received a list from the Swanee River Water Management District when we first presented to them. I think it had 21 or 26 points on it that they wanted us to address. We met out there with them. It was very nice to come and meet with us. Probably got that down to about 4 or 5, maybe, once we went through the discussion, 5 or 6. So we should have that task order now that we know what we've got to do to move forward. Should have it for you next week at the next board meeting, and then with that approval of that task order, we can get to work.
We still got money in that bucket, don't we?
Yes.
I'd like to see that done before I leave.
We- I can tell you if we would have had to meet all the first requirements that they sent us, we probably didn't have enough money.
We can get money out the budget.
I don't know if there's that much in the budget.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. The only thing, the Dollar General is coming along. They still, haven't given me a confirmed date, but they do have the fire suppression, system in. I don't know what else they got left to do. They moved in a little portable building, I guess, to have something to do with that. Everybody's waiting. Hopefully it'll be soon. The only other thing is, the governor has mentioned, about doing away with property taxes, ad valorem taxes. And we had a meeting, Monday night, the REC in Gilchrist County, and our state representative Chad Johnson was there. And I asked him what the plan was to replace that income, which I think in Gilchrist County is somewhere around $11 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. And he said, well, what's on the table right now is they would, everybody would pay into or collect into, it'd be something like a manufacturing tax, corporate tax, whatever you want to call it, to where they would collect money throughout the state. All the money would go in one big pool. Obvious, the big counties would collect a lot more money than what we do, but we would be able to draw our funds out of that pool. So we wouldn't be losing anything. We would just be replacing it in a different way. And that way there wouldn't be no property tax.
So
He said there's still a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns, sir.
So we still pay some kind of way,
Yeah,
whether
yeah,
it's
we
property
still
tax or
yeah,
something.
Paying property taxes.
But what it would do is everybody would pay. In other words, if you buy something, I don't matter if it's a candy bar, a cold drink, a boat, or whatever you buy, you would support into that fund. It's kind of like the fair tax. I don't know how many people's familiar with the fair tax, but it would work basically the same way. Right now, there's a 23% manufacturing cost on that everybody pays in the United States, and they would replace that. If they ever do away with the IRS, it'll be replaced with that tax. But not to get into how everything works, but he said it would be some type of pool that they would pull their money and collect it from everybody, and even tourists would pay for it. I mean, if you don't own property, you don't have to pay nothing no way, but people who own property, you know, they pay their ad valorem taxes. But this way, the money would go into the state pool, and everybody would pay it, whether you own property or not, and even like I said, the tourist people, who everybody would pay into that pool, and then it would be debited back to each and every county.
Mr. Chair, if I could add.
That's how, he said there's still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, my understanding is what's been proposed is a bill to evaluate considering it. So it's not even really a bill to actually do it,
I
to
don't
move
think there's
forward.
no bill or nothing, it's just something they
Yeah.
want to look at.
And even if they were to decide to move forward, my understanding is that it would be a constitutional amendment. So it would have to come back before the voters.
Yeah.
To make a decision.
It wouldn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
One other, you finished?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, I think Senator Bradley filed a bill related to, changing solar, facility approval and basically providing the counties more input. And so I don't know if there's a companion bill yet.
There is now.
Oh, there is?
I don't know if it's filed yet, but she sent me a message and said there would be one, possibly filed today or tomorrow.
Okay, good. Anything else from the legislature you heard, Bobby?
We have all our projects are listed. We got notification of that. Mr. Thomas actually got some notification of that in a meeting he was at last Thursday as well. But other than that, I haven't heard a whole lot. The sessions and meetings are starting, and, you wanna watch them, they're on the Florida Channel. And, sometimes they're pretty interesting to watch, especially if they have something to do with us local. They are interesting to watch and see how they develop.
Chris Doolin was at our city meeting up attended last Thursday on Central Florida Planning Council. And he mentioned that Gilchrist County has took the lead on the solar field. So people in Gilchrist County, board has took an initiative to do something about solar field.
He also, Commissioner of Agriculture was at the event that I went Saturday for Levy County. Will Simpson, and between him and Chad, they talked about Tallahassee is really focused this year on rural counties. They said there's gonna be a lot of good things coming down for the smaller counties in the state of Florida, for the rural county. He said that's the top of their agenda, is to take care of rural counties. Big counties can take care of themselves, and he said it's time that we took care of the small counties. He said there's gonna be a lot of good things coming down for rural counties. So I said hallelujah. Yeah. Okay, anybody got anything else?
Sure.
Wait, I may gotta do public.
Gotta do public participation.
Is there anybody who'd like to come before the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn. So moved in second, okay. See y'all next time.